I've sung in 3 different quartets. I've competed nationally and internationally. I've achieved goals and I've been disappointed. I competed with my first quartet at a national level and we competed, I think, 4 times and came 4th every time. We had a wonderful time singing together though. I competed at international and came 30-something and 3rd with the same quartet. I'm now a vocal and performance coach, and I've spent the last few years while coaching groups and quartets thinking about what the difference was in those performances. Were the really good performances, what was it that made them really good? What made the difference? And while singing with the right people, hard work, good coaching undoubtedly plays its part, and there is no substitute for that, attitude, without question, is what makes a massive difference. Welcome to the psychology behind the performance. In this session, I'm going to look at some of the things that could inhibit our ability to be able to give our best performance and some of the ways that we can help with that. And why don't we start with nerves? Performance anxiety is very real. For some of us, it's what stops us giving our best performance. For some of us, it becomes debilitating and can make us feel physically ill. And for some of us, it can stop us performing at all. So, feeling nervous before a performance, we have to understand, is a psychological response to something that our body perceives to be threatening or scary. And let's look at some of the symptoms. Maybe your heart beats faster, maybe your breathing becomes rapid, maybe you get butterflies in your stomach, your hands or knees might tremble, you might feel like you need the loo, you might sweat a lot, you might have a dry mouth. And those things are the result of your body doing what it needs to do in order to protect you. So it's okay, it's normal, but it affects your focus and it can make you less aware of your surroundings. So what do we do about it? So being nervous or experiencing those feelings that we just talked about are often related to feeling uncertain about something that's about to happen or feeling out of control. So the more we can retain control of it, the more we can eliminate the nerves. Being underprepared almost guarantees feeling nervous. So it isn't rocket science. We need to learn our notes. We need to learn our performance cues. We need to make sure that we know all the words. And we need to do that so that we can eliminate the nerves of worrying about those things. And maybe the nerves of worrying about our costume. Because sometimes we don't even think about trying it on before the dress rehearsal. And then we think that's okay to do that just before the performance. But what if we were less nervous about our costume because we'd already tried it on maybe at different rehearsals leading up to the dress rehearsal so that we didn't have to worry about it at all? Let's just eliminate all the things that could make us feel nervous. And what about us? What about our attitude towards performance? Can we do anything about that? Because that is what makes us nervous. We allow ourselves to be nervous. Is there anything we can do about that? Well, maybe there is. We're going to talk about that later. Affirmations. And the other worry is about our voice. How will it perform? Will it make the high notes? Will I be able to make the hold? So if we make sure that we've done all the things that we need to do to help us to do that, then we don't have to worry. We're going to talk about vocal health in a bit as well, and just some do's and don'ts. But really, we can eliminate the worry of will our voice do this or that by making sure that we've done everything we can to help it. So that's a little bit about the nerves. And I hope that we can start to think about eliminating those things that make us nervous and therefore enhance our performance. So now let's talk about preparation for rehearsal and for performance. Rehearsal is so important for our performance. And in working on all those things in rehearsal, we eliminate the nerves that could cause us not to give our best performance. And it's also a really wonderful part of the journey. Let's talk about what we do at the beginning of a rehearsal. Let's talk about the warm-up. Why do we do it? Well, we know that singing cold damages our voice, certainly, but also warming up will help us make our voice more smooth, open, resonant, flexible. Who wouldn't want that? And as well as that, it helps us focus. And in a chorus or in a quartet, we can get in tune with each other, vocally, mentally, and emotionally. And all that makes for better singing. So how do we warm up? Well, this isn't a session on warm-up, so I'm not going to go into it in great detail, but just to say that the importance of the warm-up is to make sure that everything is working and loose and ready to sing before you start to do it. And in doing that, and then the same when you do rehearsal and the same when you do a performance, because then you're eliminating some of the things that you're worried about. And you want to make sure that you're doing something in every area so that you're working your teeth and your tongue, maybe some articulation exercises. Maybe you start with a hum that's really gentle. You want to do maybe some exercises that take you really high in your register, that take you really low in your register. Sirening is really good. When you go from low to high, maybe on an NG note, right from the bottom, right up to the top and back down again. Open your mouth when you go high and make sure you don't have any tension in your tongue, and do it on an NG. As I say, articulation exercises are good. And then sing a few phrases of maybe one of your favourite songs on an E, and then an R, and then with words. So you sing the whole thing on an E vowel, whatever the words are, and then sing it on an R, and then with the words. And remember that when you're doing this, if you're singing with your quartet or your chorus, then some of this, the purpose of the warm-up is not just to warm your voice up, which is obviously very important, but to tune in to everybody else and the voices around you. And that really works well for unity. Okay, so now you've done all of that, you're ready to sing. So now you're warmed up and ready to sing at your rehearsal or your performance. And during your rehearsals, work really hard to eliminate all the things that we were talking about that may give you nerves on the stage. So match those vowels. Make sure you know your notes. Make sure everything feels really good. Match your vowels, match your synchronization, and duo and trio. So sing with 2 of you, with 3 of you, and really until it sounds so it's perfectly matched. Use that time as well to agree an interp and your emotion and intent. Are you all thinking about the same thing at the same time? And repeat, repeat, repeat to fix it. Remember that what we're doing during these rehearsal times is going through and eliminating anything that might give us nerves. And then when you've done that, use some of your rehearsal to perform, to be free and to enjoy singing together. And during that time, if things crop up and aren't completely right, don't stop and start working on them during the free time. Maybe make a note of them and use them for the following week for your working piece, and then carry on having fun, carry on working, carry on being free, carry on performing, because we need to have a chance to do that as well. Okay, so the rehearsals are really important. The warm-up is really important. They are all a wonderful part of your musical journey. I just wanted to briefly touch on vocal health, because we need to think about eliminating those worries that we might have about our voice, which could cause the nerves when we want to perform and give our best. So if you want to ensure that your voice is always in the best condition possible, here are some do's and don'ts. Here's your do's. Warm up always. Drink water regularly. Practice regularly. Rest your voice if you have a cold. Steam a tired voice. When you steam, the moisture gets right down into your vocal cords. It's really important. And do get as much sleep as you can. And here are your don'ts. Don't smoke. It's an irritant. It makes you more prone to colds and coughs, and it negatively affects your breath control. Don't start a performance cold. Don't drink alcohol before surgery. Gosh, anyone would think I've been drinking it before this. Don't over-practice. Don't eat dairy, drink dairy, have dairy prior to singing. Try not to talk or shout above loud music or lots of people talking, and avoid smoky environments. Okay, so there's your do's and don'ts. Keep your voice healthy. Don't let that be one of the worries that causes you nerves on stage. In order to eliminate some of the nerves that we talked about earlier with regard to our performance, we need to try and change the focus of our performance. Why are we performing? Now, sometimes, often we want to perform for an audience, but the audience worry us. So if we're performing for a show, it's great, but then we get nervous. And why are we nervous? Let's think about the audience. Why did they make the trip? Why do they spend ages parking the car? Why are they sitting in uncomfortable seats? Because they want to be inspired, because they want to be entertained, because they want to feel something. So they want us to be good. So the audience are not something that we need to worry about. They want us to be great. Let's think about when we perform and we are competing. What's our focus on? Do we suddenly focus on the judges? Why do we do that? Maybe we need to think about switching our performances to something a bit simpler. When we read bedtime stories to children, we relax, we do all the voices, it sounds amazing. Are we worried about being judged? Probably not. What's our focus? Probably to entertain, maybe to capture their interests, maybe to give them pleasure, maybe to lull them to sleep, maybe to show them love. But our focus is definitely on what we're doing for them. It's not on us. It's not on how good our performance is, or how good we are at reading the story, or how they might judge us. We don't think about that. So maybe we need to have the same mindset when we perform, when we sing. Can we change our focus from being judged to being the entertainer? That's the trick. We need to become the giver of an experience to the audience. And I know it's really easy to say this stuff, but it's the key. And once we have the intention to do that, we can use different methods, practice, or some people use meditation to allow ourselves to be able to develop our capacity to become a giver in our performances and not a performer to be judged. So we really have to get our heads round changing the focus. As we already touched on, your mind plays a massive part in how you prepare and how you perform. It also plays a big role in how you process the performance and then how you feel about doing it again. You have to believe in yourself completely. But that isn't about ego. It's about being 100% content with who you are and where you are at that time. Note that I said content, not perfect. You don't have to be 100% perfect. You have to be 100% content with who you are and where you are right then. because trying to change or disguise or repress things just before a performance is a recipe for disaster and conflict and anxiety. Be you. Know your strengths, know your limitations, and accept them. Mental habits lead to physical habits. If we want to perform at our best, we need to be positive and think positively. If you think a piece of music is difficult to sing, it will be. If you think you won't do well, you probably won't. Your body will respond with tension, and then things all go pear-shaped. When your conscious mind has a positive thought, it can't have a negative one at the same time. So fill it all with positivity. Think positively. And it's not about expecting the best to happen every time, but it's about expecting that whatever happens, it's the best thing for this moment. We know that we need to be positive and believe in ourselves, but that can be really hard sometimes, and we need a bit of help. So let's move on to the value of positive affirmations and how we make them. Well, firstly, we have to define our goal, decide what we want. We need to outline a plan of achieving it. We need to write out a directive affirmation and place it in prominent places. On our computers, in our cars, in the bathroom, by the kettle. And then we need to read it and visualize it every day. And then we need to believe it. You just repeat, repeat, repeat. So your goal may be to compete in a quartet contest. Your goal may be to come in the top 10 of a quartet contest, or top 5, or to win. Whatever your goal is, that's what you're aiming for. So what do you need to do to achieve it? You got to find songs, learn them, rehearse. So you need to make a plan. So you got to make this goal happen. And then you need to eliminate any glitches, sync, vowels, tuning, etc. And everything goes into your plan. So that's how you're going to do it. That's how you're going to achieve your goal. And then you write out your affirmation, which you've got to start believing. And your affirmation may say something like, I am the lead of the top 5 UK quartet. My fellow singers can always rely on me to know my notes. I always sing with freedom and with resonance and with the intention of bringing joy to the audience. So personalise your affirmations. Write out what it is that you want and then believe it. Stick it everywhere. Repeat, repeat, repeat. What you repeat will become what you believe. What you believe is what could happen. How exciting is that? I really hope that some of the things that we've talked about today will help you try and eliminate some of the things that stop you giving your best performance, and maybe a few tools that could help you change the way that you approach it. I encourage you to dream big. Don't settle for mediocrity. I hope you all have huge, huge, unbelievable dreams, because your dreams will drive you to accomplish great things.